Boys are going to bring the heat today.
As the leader of the Booner Path, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juice pumping, boys. All right. Welcome. Crunch Time Sports. It is a beautiful Wednesday here in the city of Detroit for the Detroit Lions. It's a beautiful Wednesday night. My name is Booner, if you guys don't already know. October 29th. It's almost Halloween. Big news today in the Detroit Lions world. Jeff Iafrate, for people were wondering, where is Jeff? Jeff will be joining the show here in just a couple minutes. He's probably be on around 8:10ish. So just about 5-10 minutes he'll be hopping on. He was actually he was doing a podcast with the collective there. They were doing a remote podcast, so a live show at a brewery. So and it was a good one. Hopefully you guys all tuned into that. There was a lot of good information from Colton, Will, Justin, all those guys. It was actually great. And obviously everyone knows massive news today. So this should be a fun show, packed show. We have the doc joining, but I think everyone wanted to come and tune in and talk about the Aidan Hutchinson extension that we all have been waiting for. Everyone's been kind of sitting on the edge of their seats over the last 3 or 4 months. All off season long, the questions have been asked to Brad Holmes, to Dan Campbell, to Aidan Hutchinson. It's been a topic of discussion for probably the last 6 months since the start of this last NFL season, or the NFL year, as people say. So I'll pull it up here. Let's just get right to it. And Jeff will come in and he'll give his thoughts on it. But we got to do our due diligence and talk about it. Breaking news, if you guys haven't seen yet and you're tuned in, the Detroit Lions and Aidan Hutchinson have agreed to a 4-year contract extension. And let me pull up here. We do have the details as well. It's just right here. If you guys go follow us too on Crunch Time. But I want to pull up the contract details. I think all of this is. I'm just juiced up that this deal got done. Aidan Hutchinson's contract extension with the Detroit Lions is a 4-year deal worth $180 million, $141 million guaranteed. Makes him the second highest paid edge rusher when you talk about per year on average. Annual average, $45 million a year behind Micah Parsons. So he didn't set the he didn't kind of break the market there and reset the market. He went right under Micah Parsons. He did, though, that $141 million guaranteed. If you guys didn't see it or already know, Aidan Hutchinson actually is the highest paid when it comes to guaranteed money non-quarterback. So that was the most guaranteed money we've seen out of a non-quarterback in the NFL and NFL history, which is a big deal with Brad getting that done. I see someone here, MC3 Who Dat said, what do you think of the deal, Boone? I can get into it here with the deal, because I'll tell you what, and quite frankly, I'll give my side of it here. When Jeff hops on, he could talk about it a little bit, how he feels about the deal. I'm pretty consistent. I'll say this when it comes to these deals that Brad Holmes has done. I think, number one, every time a deal gets done, and I think this is fair for fans to think. I think it's fair for NFL, fans, not just Lions fans, but NFL fans and national media and even media in the city. I think it's fair for everyone to question, how is Brad going to do all of these deals with so many good players, so many all-pros? You still have Sam Laporta left. You have Jahmyr Gibbs left. Brian Branch left. Who am I missing? Who am I missing? Jack Campbell left. You still have a lot of these players left, and they just keep figuring out ways to pay. Listen, I love the deal, and I'll tell you this. This is exactly why. And I've loved every deal that Brad Holmes has done. There's one deal that I don't like, and you guys know who that is. If you guys watched our show a long time, the only deal that I have not exceptionally loved personally, whether you agree or disagree, has been the Ali McNeil deal. That aside, when you're talking about some of these younger players, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Penei Sewell, even Jared Goff's contract, not young, but Jared Goff, Jameson Williams, now Aidan Hutchinson, Kirby Joseph. When you talk about some of these deals, I think the biggest thing that people need to realize when these numbers get done is Brad is one of the best, I think, right now in the NFL of general managers, that it comes with getting deals done in a timely manner and kind of getting it done early. You look at a lot of these deals like Jared Goff, when that happened, that was like the first domino. I think he might have been the first major one that signed, either him or Panay. They were all around each other in Amon-Ra. When those deals get signed, if you remember when we had that conversation, and Buddy put there the core players. Yeah, the core players. But I had the conversation here on the show when everyone was mad about the price or, hey, there was too much money. You give it 1 year, and you see the market drastically just increase. Like you saw it with Dak Prescott. I think Justin Herbert got a big deal. Like guys started getting big deals after Jared Goff. AG's Burner says Goff's wasn't that early. They were early because if you would have had to pay Goff a year late, you're paying him over, that you're paying him a premium at that point. Amon-Ra, he is now what? The 10th highest paid wide receiver? I don't know exactly, maybe 9th, 10th. Penei Sewell, he's dropping. Kirby, he's dropped. As soon as Kirby signed, guess what? More safeties signed after that, and more are going to sign forward. And I think it's the same thing here with Aidan Hutchinson. I think one of the big part about the Aidan Hutchinson deal that I love so much about it too is that he didn't reset the market with Micah. He went in there, and I talk about, hey, there's no such thing as a hometown discount. I'm not going to say Hutchinson took a hometown discount, but he obviously probably could have pushed it and said, hey, I want to wait till the end of the year, and I want more than Micah Parsons. Easily could have done that. But instead he said, all right, let's get this deal done now. I want to be in Detroit. And now he's in Detroit through minimum at least 2029, potentially 2025, depending on how extensions go after that and opt-outs and different things. But you for sure have him through 2029. And you have him at 45, which I can guarantee you, and I'll put this on record, and we'll revisit this later. I can guarantee you there's going to be edge rushers over the next, I don't know, 2 or 3 years that go over 50. There's going to be players like Max Crosby, Micah Parsons, again, who's already above Myles Garrett's. There's going to be a lot of edge rushers who are going to go out there and be like, I want to get paid 50. So in MC3 said Hutch was never leaving, just a question of when and how much his new deal would be. I think that's the biggest thing. And we talked about it a lot on this show. Before the Micah, the crazy part is before the Micah deal, everyone thought Hutch was going to reset the market. I said he's going to be just a little under. Then when Micah hit, I think a lot of us were in agreement. I think there was a lot of people who still thought he could get over the Micah number. I always thought, hey, it's just going to be right under. Because he had, like, in my opinion, you have to win Defensive Player of the Year to want that Micah number. I think he took a step down and said, I'll take the 45. I will take the 45, which I love. And I actually, oh man, I wonder if they said it on the collective. My thought process, I might have been on 97.1 today. Someone brought up a great point. I think it might have been Valeni. They brought up such a great point, and it instantly clicked for me. And the keys to wisdom put in there. I already talked about some of these extra players: Jack Campbell, Brian Branch, Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs. Like those players right there. I think one thing that if we're talking about paying some of these guys, I think we need to start looking at how Hutch took $5 million less per year. That's $25 million all over the course of a contract. You could go look at Amon-Ra compared to Justin Jefferson's and those guys, how much less he took because he was a year early. Same with Kirby. So I think Brad Holmes' mindset, this is just me and this is how I feel, and I could be dead wrong with this. I think there's a world in that building, like J-Mo. J-Mo probably could have either waited or he could have said, I want more than what he got, the 28 that he got, or 25 or whatever it was. I don't remember the exact number for J-Mo, but he could have got more. I think Brad Holmes and in that building in Allen Park, and I would love for, and we can ask some of these beat writers. We can ask the doc tonight who hops on. I would love for some of them just to just mention and just ask some of these guys that have signed these bigger deals. Is that a conversation that's had between the players in front office? Like, hey, like, can you just get us down $3 or $4 million in a year or per year, save us 20 across the course of your 4-year deal, and we can guarantee we'll bring Sam Laporta back. Because if I tell you what, if I'm Aidan Hutchinson and I'm at the negotiation table and they say, hey, we'll give you 50, we'll give you, and Hutch's, camp is saying, hey, we want 50. And we go, Hutch, this is the problem. We're going to have to let go of Sam Laporta and Brian Branch. Caveat, we'll counter you. If you go to 45 over the next 4 years, what we'll do is make sure Sam Laporta has a deal and he's back in the building. Or Brian Branch, who is Aidan Hutchinson's running partner, right? We'll make sure Brian Branch does not leave this city. And if you do that across, 3 or 4 different contracts, $20 million across the 4, and you're talking about with JMO's deal, you save 2 or 3 a year there. You do with Jared Goff with the restructure, hopefully by the end of the season, that gets restructured. I think maybe that's where you start saving some money there. And you're able to bring one more extra player back. Now, does that still leave someone out? Yeah, for sure it does. It for sure still leaves someone out because it's so much money. I just don't see a world where you could pay all these guys. There's going to be an odd man out. But if these guys are taking, if every single one of these players who I think they could, Amon-Ra could reset the market. Like all these guys could reset markets. If each one of them are doing that, you're probably not bringing all 4 of these extra guys back or even 3 of them. You're probably bringing 2 of the 4. So bottom line with this whole thing, I'll say this. I love the Aidan Hutchinson deal. I want to bring up something else. I want to bring up another tweet here. This is actually my tweet. Let me bring this up. But I just put a tweet out here because I think there's something interesting with Amon-Ra or with Aidan Hutchinson's contract, just for the people to kind of get an idea of what the contract looks like. Caveats to it. How did Brad Holmes structure it? Because I think a lot of people, it is a big deal. It's a massive contract. It's the second biggest contract on the team, besides obviously Amon-Ra. So here are some of the details with it for people that kind of don't have an idea. Obviously, it's a $180 million deal, 4 years, and 140 guaranteed. Deal is about 45 a year. Interesting. So if you look at Michael Parsons' deal, this is where I think people kind of it gets interesting how these deals are done, because Brad and the Detroit Lions, they have to do so many of these deals to where you have to be smart about, hey, what deals are front end, what deals are back end, where are we putting, where are we going to put the money, how are we doing signing bonus? There's a lot to it. Michael Parsons' deal, obviously, if people don't remember, he had one of the bigger signing bonuses, I think about $45 million. Aidan Hutchinson's at $15 million. He only had a $15 million signing bonus. We'll go through the cap hits here as well. I'll tell you people, listen, I try and do everything for the people that watch our show. I tried to get someone on to kind of break down the contract. I think we're going to try and get, hopefully in the next couple of days, maybe we can get Jeremy Reisman on. I hit him up. He was unable to go tonight. We're going to find someone who can kind of break some of these contracts down if people are interested in that. Because I'm interested to see with Hutch's deal, Amon-Ra, JMO, like what's the actual effect long term of having so many of these players on so many big deals. I think that's a really big question. I think a lot of people would be interested to kind of figure that out and see if there's opt-outs, if there's different things like that. I do know I got a question too, and I tweeted this out. Someone commented and it said, well, I thought the 2026 cap hit was $20 million. With this deal, they did, I believe. Listen, this is where don't hold me to this. This is where I'm not an expert, but from my understanding, from my reading and my, I go out and do some homework and I try and understand this as much as anyone else. It sounded like they took some of the 25 and 26 money, put it within a guarantee to open up on this contract, and go in there and take some of that cap off and put it on the back end. So I think that's what happened. Too, I just want to shout out to Hassanin Mahdi, absolute legend. He said, hi, my friends. Well, and my dear friend, brother Doc, the truth man. The Doc is hopping on today. Together you have a great show. I'm Ahmed Hassanin's father. Ahmed is getting healthy and very hungry. Go Lions. Mahdi Hassanin, thank you for tuning in. You're an absolute legend. We love you. I know you tune in all the time here and watch the boys. Ahmed, we heard straight from the source, straight from his dad today. He's getting healthy. I actually was listening to the collective today, and Justin Rogers, if people wanted an update on Ahmed Hassanin, the injury settlement, I think Justin Rogers today actually said that it is over either next week or the week after, I think week 9 or week 10, where Ahmed will be able to rejoin the team after that happens. if healthy. And it sounds like he's getting healthy. So it sounds like Ahmed Hassanin over the next few weeks could be potentially joining back with the Detroit Lions, which is big news. It's great news. Pumped up. Hopefully that happens. Back into this the contract conversation here with Aidan. So some of that money kind of got moved around there. $15 million signing bonus, which isn't that much. And I think what really happened with that is they put a lot of this money on the back end. And you'll see here, if we go through the cap hit, you'll see this is just a back end deal for Aidan Hutchinson. Brad Holmes, incredible job. And I'll explain this if you guys want to know. So 27 is 38-ish $1 million cap hit, 28, 38-ish, and then 29 and 30. Those are the two massive years. And I know right away, a lot of people are going to be like, whoa. My thought process with this instantly, and I actually texted the doc to confirm it to make sure my brain wasn't mushed, because all these numbers and all these different things going on with this contract on Spot Track or Spo Track, whatever it's called. And I'm trying to figure all this out. This all makes sense. AG's burner, 58's the only massive year. You have 58 and then 30, you have 50. A potential opt-out with zero dead cap. So after 2029, this is why I said earlier with his deal, and 2029 minimum, you'll have him for, because in 2030, there's a potential out, no dead cap, no guarantees in 2020 or 2030. That doesn't mean they're going to get rid of Aidan Hutchinson after 2029. When I looked at this, the first thing that I thought of was going into the 2029 year, Brad Holmes, after these next 4 years and after the $38 million cap hit for Aidan Hutchinson, Brad Holmes just literally set this contract up for Aidan, his agent, and him to go right back into the conference room in Allen Park, sit down in 2029 before the 29 season with the $60 million cap hit, and look at them and say, all right, let's get another extension done. Let's figure this thing out. And I think that's exactly why Brad Holmes did the deal the way he did, because he knows, hey, 2029, it's either he's still going to be playing at an extremely high level and we're going to give him another extension, or at the end of that season, we're going to end up restructuring and we might just opt out of that deal. My guess is they're looking to do another extension following the 28 season. And they will move all of this money around again, and they'll push that 58, that 50 back end signing bonus, cap hits on the back end again, and they're going to figure this thing out. These guys in Allen Park, they set it up to where they can restructure Jared Goff this year. They've set it up to where, and I'm interested too in 28. You got to think that's when some of these, like, a Terrion's going to be due, I think at 27 or 28. Tate Ratledge, like there's going to be other guys that are, Christian Mahogany, that hopefully are great players that you want to be able to keep in house, and you're able to move a few things around there and make that move. So I love the deal. I would love to see in the chat too, because listen, I don't know, maybe it's just me. I don't think it was just me. I saw a clip today on Twitter of 97.1. They put out a clip that supposedly there was a lot of Lions fans that were mad about the Aidan Hutchinson deal and didn't like the Aidan Hutchinson deal, and said that they would have been rather off him playing the contract out and moving on after that. And when I watched that video, I was taken aback because I haven't heard it, and I'm on Twitter all day. I run our social media. I have not seen one tweet or one person say that this deal was a bad deal and they didn't want to keep Aidan Hutchinson in-house. But 97.1, they put out there, and on there, they said they were getting ticket text where there's all these Lions fans who are texting in. I'm convinced maybe there was just Vikings fans that were trolling them. Really, honestly. Because, I mean, this whole offseason, what has this offseason been? It's literally just been about the edge rushers, and it's been about making sure you have a pass rush. And then all of a sudden, Aidan gets a deal, and there's Lions fans complaining about it. And you didn't even, again, like, I think, I honestly, like, I could be wrong. I feel like Lions fans should be throwing a parade for what Brad Holmes did in the deal that he got. Because it easily could, I mean, we talked about it for months that this thing, if you're Aidan Hutchinson, you're playing this season out. He's on track to potentially be defensive player of the year. You're playing this thing out and you're going to get 50 plus million a year. And guess what Brad did? Brad got the deal done at 45 in October. So I don't know, like it feels like a steal to me. I love the deal. Like I told you guys before, I love it. I think he structured the deal perfectly. I think one underrated thing about Brad Holmes, and I think it's Mike Disner who does it, who does a lot of the contracts in-house as well. I think I heard Justin say that earlier, and we've talked about that with the doc. I think an underrated part of this front office is these guys, how they structure these deals out and make it really, really realistic. For them to be able to re-sign other players, bring in free agents, and to kind of restructure at the right times. I think they're trying to be really strategic on how this thing works out. Just like I just showed you guys there with the Hutch deal after 2028, they're put into a very prime position of getting another extension done and pushing that money off for another 4 or 5 years, or spreading it out to make that number go down. So yeah, I don't know. I love the deal. Let's do this now. It's 9:22. I'm interested to hear Jeff Iafrate's thought process on that. I actually have not, and this is why our show I feel like is so good. We talk a lot about stuff, but we always wait until the show to really like get into the weeds about it. Jeff, you throw yourself in here whenever you're ready, brother. I mean, hey, hop in.
Hi, Boone.
Jeffrey, how are you doing? By the way, Jeff was down at a brewery. I do have some of those beers in my car. Maybe at some point when the doc's on, I'll go grab one. And
you definitely should. You definitely should. Can I just say, I was listening to the show while I was getting ready to join. If there's any Lions fan out there that thinks this is like a bad deal or whatever.
Did you see the clip? I sent it to you today.
This is why we need to bring back insane asylums, dude. This is why we need to bring back insane asylums. Bring back somewhere where we can put these people and let them rot. Why in your right mind would you think this contract extension is a bad deal? That doesn't make any sense to me. It's great. It's amazing.
I don't know how, and I'm interested to hear your full thoughts on it. I think this was the best deal you could have gotten with Aidan Hutchinson. 6 months ago, the only better scenario that could have happened is, and it was never going to happen because Hutch was always going to wait, to where when he was available for a contract, whatever it was, 6-7 months ago, if Brad would have gotten the deal done instantly before Micah signed, that would have been the only like best case scenario. But for the position they are in currently going forward with the Micah deal, I mean, Brad, he got a discount. Like you kept telling me you thought that, and being transparent. I remember you being like, he's going to reset the market. I thought
he'd get 50. I thought he'd get 50.
And I was like, I think you need to win Defensive Player of the Year to do that. And I think he took a discount. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, well, he did, which I will say, he with these type of deals, it's like Kirby. I know they were, it's like with Kirby talking to the media, he can say he's the highest paid safety. So it means something to these guys to be able to say that. Aidan can say now, I've gotten the most guaranteed money of any non-quarterback. I've gotten the most guaranteed. So he might not be the highest paid AAV.
For now.
But he can at least say, I got the most guaranteed money for now out of non-quarterbacks. So he got something in that deal. So it does make him happy. But it's well-deserved. It's like, if you're Aidan, why wouldn't you want to sign an extension? You know, you never know what could happen. I mean, we've seen crazy things happen with players in a contract year waiting to get a contract extension. So, yeah, it's good for him. He gets stability. The Lions get to lock him down before he does win Defensive Player of the Year, and that price tag continues to increase. But I know I was watching, too, when you were showing off the kind of year-to-year salaries. I think the way that Mike Disner does these contracts are very smart. He pushes – it's kind of like what the Eagles are doing, where they push the money back so they can go all in. Well, Brad's version of go all in, but they save money in the near future while they're chasing championships. They push the money back, and then, like you said, you can renegotiate, you can restructure Jared Goff's contract. Like, I think it makes a ton of sense. This is well overdue. I'm glad they got it done. I think the big storyline, to be honest with you, coming out of Allen Park is not Aidan's extension, even though it technically is, but it's what happens with the other 4 players that you're going to end up extending: Jack Campbell, Sam Laporta, Brian Branch, Jameer Gibbs. That's where my mind goes with that.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you saw the SPO-Track projections for what they're going to make, but they're all probably
20
in the ballpark of $20 million.
18. So, okay, I had a thought process, and you could tell me if I'm wrong with this. And I want to actually, I told the chat, like, I would love to ask some of the beat writers that we know, is this something that you guys are able to ask some of these players? I don't know if it's an off limits question or not, but like, you look at the Hutch deal, right, Jeff? Hutch should have got 50, right? Like that's probably the number that his range is in. He takes 45, right? You do the math. What's 5 times 4? That's 20 million. That's 20 million. And I know that you're talking about, well, that's 20 million. That's only 1 year for one of these guys. You look at JMO. What's the exact number JMO got?
I don't know the year-to-year like cap situation, but it's about 27, 28, I think it is. About
so you could argue like JMO could have gone and said, hey, I want 3 or 4 more than I did, right? Like I think that's fair. Kirby, maybe not. He reset the market, but when you look at the way the safety kind of thing levels out, he's probably 3 or 4 behind.
Amon-Ra, St. Brown, Penei Sewell, they're under.
And yes, like extremely. Like Amon-Ra's at like 29, and these guys are at like almost 40 now. Some of these wide receivers. So you're talking about like a 10 million difference. This is a tinfoil hat theory, but I genuinely believe that there's a world inside of those. There's a world in that building there in Allen Park where there's conversations being had like, hey, we know who our core group is. There's about 8 or 9 of us that Brad's drafted that are all pro players. And we know we all want to get paid at the end of the day. If each one of those guys, and they have a conversation, let's say with Hutch, hey, Hutch, can you take 45 instead of 50? Amon-Ra, can you get your deal done now and do 29 instead of next year or later, a couple months later, and it ends up being 35? Or Jared Goff, hey, let's get this done now before, the money gets over 50 million a year for a quarterback. Same with Penei. These are our projections for these players. And let's say 5 or 6 million per player over the next 4 or 5 years. You add all that up, that adds up essentially to like a full Brian Branch contract or a full Sam Laporta contract or a full, you know what I mean? It's like, that's an extra player. Like if you add each one of those big time contracts up, you're looking at 40 million, 50 million. That's 2 years of one of those guys. So I don't know. I wonder if there's something in that building because these guys like are getting paid, but at the same time, like Hutch he should have got 50. Like he's probably the best edge rusher in football right now, arguably. I know he's the second and he got the most guaranteed, but maybe you tell those guys like, hey, instead of getting 50 a year, we'll give you 140 guaranteed and you'll be the highest non-quarterback guaranteed player in football. Instead of getting 50 a year, like the 50 a year looks cool. What's your guarantee? What's Micah Parsons' guarantee? 120? Hey, we'll give you one. Yeah, we'll give you 20 more guaranteed. That literally that works out. His is 120. Aidan's 140. That's 20 million. What's 20 divided by 4? That's 5 a year. That's 45 to 50. So they're like, hey, we'll give you more guaranteed if you take less money. So we can pay some of these other guys.
I think, and to be honest, the big question in all of this is what happens with the future of Taylor Decker. He's $20 million. That's a guy who's making $20 million. And I'm not saying they're like get rid of him or anything, but what I'm saying is he signed a 3-year, $60 million extension. How many more years of football is he playing? And you have to factor that in when you talk about like Jack Campbell or Jahmyr Gibbs. That's $20 million that would go to one of those players, or Sam Laporta, Brian Branch, for example. So that's another 20. I don't know. It was brought up today on Lions Collective, like the possibility of keeping all of these guys. I would be interested to see how. I'm not saying it can't be done because I don't know more than like a Mike Dissner, but I would be interested to see how they would be able to do it. I think the big domino that fell that makes me less confident is the JMO extension, because of that was the one, I guess. I'm not saying I didn't. It was like, okay, they extended JMO. I guess hearing Brad Holmes, it maybe gave me the inkling that maybe he wouldn't be extended, but he has been extended. I wonder how that affects those other 4 players. I put a poll in the chat just to get a feel for the people here on if in this hypothetical scenario, if there was an odd man out of the 4, which one do you think is the odd man out?
I do think it's obvious.
So 20% said Brian Branch, 4% said Jahmyr Gibbs, 11% said Jack Campbell, and 63% said Sam Laporta.
Yeah. I think it's obvious.
He was heavily the pick here in the chat of the odd man out here.
I think it's just fair to say, like, say they're all around the same price, like 17 to 20 million. Jahmyr Gibbs, he's a top 3 back in the NFL. You could say, Sam's a top 3 tight end in the NFL. What's more valuable? A Saquon type player is more valuable than a tight end. You know what I'm saying? Like that's just kind of a fact. And you do see in today's NFL, and especially like with the Lions, you really do see teams finding good tight ends like out of nowhere. And Brad's already done a really good job at finding the talent of Sam Laporta, to where I'm confident he could find another. Maybe not a Sam Laporta, but he could go find another tight end that's very, very productive. And I big Sam Laporta fan, love Sam Laporta, but you can't get rid of your green dot linebacker. Brian Branch is one of the best safeties in the NFL, and he's probably on that back end, in my opinion. That's like I think I'm taking Brian Branch over Kirby, but you already did the Kirby deal.
Right.
Sam Laporta, it's like, hey, you could probably draft a tight end, and he might not get to where Sam Laporta is, but you can get someone pretty close. But you're not drafting another Jahmyr Gibbs that will get to the Jahmyr Gibbs level. You just won't. You don't have a first round pick that high anymore. And that's like the only place you'll find a running back like that is in the top 20, probably.
I'll say for me, I think what Brad's looking at this, the way he's approaching this, because before I would have said I would rather have Laporta and I would find another wide receiver too, given they don't use, GC JMO's usage, they're not using him probably as much as they should, but they've already extended JMO. So the reality is, I think Brad's telling us that they feel that, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, that JMO's ability is rarer than finding another Sam Laporta. I don't even think it's about a wide receiver 2 thing. I think it's about his ability, his explosive ability. They feel is more rare than finding a pass catching tight end that can put up the numbers Sam Laporta can.
I like how you said that. Like it's the ability, because I do think, like, I agree with you. We've had this conversation in the past. The wide receiver 2 is at a higher level. Like you could probably find a wide receiver 2 just like you could find a tight end.
I think Isaac Tesla could be a good wide receiver.
Yeah.
Can he do what JMO does explosively?
Probably not.
Obviously not. Yeah, obviously not.
It could, but the problem is, like I think tight ends, it's easier to find and it hits quicker. I think with a wide receiver 2, like with Tesla, it's easy for us to say that. We don't know. Like, I think wide receiver 2s miss more often than tight ends, in my opinion. So, like, even if you did think Tesla could and he steps in for JMO, I think you have a less guarantee of that hitting than you do if you went out in the second round, drafted another tight end. I think there's a better chance of that hitting than there is like a Isaac Tesla or someone else at that level. You see what I'm saying? I don't know, but I'm with you. Like, I think they're on level playing fields.
Especially with this offense, you're not going to pay every single weapon you have. You're just not. They've already paid their number 1 wide receiver. They paid JMO, their number 2 wide receiver. They're not going to pay. They paid their tackle they're going to have probably at left for the future, Penei Sewell. Like, they paid Jared Goff. You're not going to pay your tight end as well. Like, it's just not going to happen. There's no team in the NFL. There's no team in the NFL that has paid max money, essentially, at the time. It's not, obviously, Amon-Ra's not the highest paid anymore, but they paid pretty much max money to their quarterback, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, and tight end.
Yep.
I don't think that's. I don't think that. The Eagles did it for their quarterback, running back, wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, but Dallas Goedert's not being paid like that. So I at least off the top of my head. So it's very difficult to do. I think Sam Laporta probably would be the odd one out. I think that's just the reality of it, to be honest with you. So
for sure,
we'll see. But again, I don't know. Maybe they can find a way. Like, you can't say the way Jack Campbell's playing, he's here. And I think what tells you even more comfortably he's here is what they did with Anzalone, dude. They didn't even flinch. He's not getting extended. So what does that tell you? They're going to keep Jack Campbell. Brian Branch, I don't see. It's tough. You're paying 2 safeties.
You cannot walk, but you can't walk from Brian Branch. That would be an all-time fumble, in my opinion.
Yeah, you can't let him go. And Jahmyr Gibbs, especially this year, he's shown like he's been your entire run game. So, like, you have an argument for him as well. But Sam Laporta, as good as he's been,
I love Sam.
It's just like, it's just the unfortunate reality. They've already paid JMO, so we're already here. But yeah, I love the Aidan Hutchinson deal. It's great. Well deserved by him. I think he's gonna be here. He's here for the next 6 years.
So he's through. You're talking about Hutch?
Yeah, because he's
minimum. He's here through 2029. There's an opt out 29. That's probably, and there's non-guaranteed money in 20 to 30. So there's essentially, he's here till 29 no matter what. 2030 is the last year of his deal. There's no guaranteed money though. So there's probably, the sign, I was telling the people, like, the signs kind of point itself. Like it's like with Trey Hendrickson. Like, I'm not playing without guaranteed money on my deal. Like, Hutch isn't going to play in 2030 if there's no guaranteed money.
He'll be 30 years old. So
yeah.
he'll get another one.
Like I told the people, like in 28 or 29, it's 58 million, and in 30, it's a $50 million cap hit. They've set it up essentially. Brad has to where after 2028, they'll probably sit down and get another extension done in 2028, get guaranteed money in that deal, back end it all again. So he's going to be here through 2029 no matter what, and most likely 2030 no matter what.
Yeah, we tweeted the tweet out today with all the players they've paid. This tweet, it puts it in perspective. They've given out basically close to $1 billion in extensions.
I think it's like 900 with like Derek Barnes and other players included.
Yeah, we put at the bottom there over 631 million in just guaranteed money.
That's just those 7 guys.
Yeah, just the 7. Derek Barnes, he got paid as well. He's on here.
Yeah.
I mean, we're not counting free agents, but yeah, Demont. I mean, they just paid DJ Reed as well. They gave him an extension, so they're keeping this core together for the next handful of years. Like these are your core players right here. They believe, that's just how it goes. So, and that's I think it was come down, but
I think it was really good on your guys' the collective show. Justin Rogers had just brought up. I think it's a good point. Like with the window, me and you have had countless conversations the last 2 years trying to figure out this whole window situation because we've always like, hey, go all in for a Super Bowl. Windows don't last forever. It does feel like, and you do see, I don't know if you saw it today, but like it feels like in national media with the Lions, a lot of people are putting out there like the Lions have been literally best case scenario and literally like dictionary definition of how you want to run your franchise, like draft extremely well. Like if you're talking about like keeping the window open as long as possible, like draft at such a high level, pay guys in-house early to where the deals aren't breaking your pockets and keep your core together. They've literally done it to a T, to where we could argue all we want. Hey, the window's done next year. Like how many conversations have we had with other people? And I mean, some people we've had conversations with were like, window's done this year. It's done next year. As long as you have your core guys, and most of them are through 2029, that's 4 years of a window. And you're not going anywhere in those 4 years. If you have these guys, they're not 40-year-old players. These guys are like in their 20s, some of them early 30s. Your window in Detroit right now is like minimum 4 years right now.
Yeah, and you're always going to have the opportunity to, which we haven't seen Brad do this really, but with a team like the Lions where they are, you're always going to have vets that want to play on one-year deals or come and win a Super Bowl because that's what happens. Like you have to prove that you're a viable destination for a vet trying to win a Super Bowl, but who's to say in free agency some player maybe in his mid-30s doesn't want to just sign here for a cheaper deal to chase a Super Bowl, understanding that they're cap strapped. Like that could happen too. Like you can still have your core sign for the future and still make like all-in moves without spending a lot of money. It's just bringing in guys that want to win. Like they can do that.
It's smart moves, like like signing the right free agents, like making sure like you're bringing vets and like, what a great example of that is that I was thinking about on my drive today, like signing like a DJ Reader because he's not on a major deal. What was he like 15 or less a year around there? But he makes such a big impact to where you sign vets like that around your football team. You're able to have some of these other guys on these massive deals because you have so much, like you're so reliable at a position like that. And as well, the obvious, like continuing to draft well, putting yourself in positions where you have to make those tough decisions because that means you're drafting at a high level. Like Tate Ratledge, my guess, trajectory, going to be one of the best guards in football in the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, him and Mahogany are tied up for the next 3-4 years on rookie deals.
But at some point, like in 2028, guess what? 2029, those guys are going to be due. And that's why like you're going to have to restructure some of these deals. And when you draft well, you're going to have to keep paying and making tougher decisions.
Yep. Draft and develop, draft and replace. And, and like I said, on for the deadline, like I don't know what Brad's going to do. I don't know what's probably a fair expectation, but they have pretty much every position sealed out. It's just at this point, bringing in, where do you feel like you need depth? Which, did you see that stat they dropped with the tackle stuff today?
I did. I want to go back I'm so interested in that stat. Me either. I want to go back and I'm not saying Will's wrong because Will's so good at that stuff. I want to go see like who were these tackles. Like last year, the Vikings, like there was 3 tackles in the last 12 years that got traded. One of them was just last year with the Vikings. So really that's 2 in 11 years.
No, since 2002.
Oh,
Yeah,
I need to go do homework on that. I need to figure that out.
20
I need to find that tweet that Will was talking about with that. That's nuts.
That would be crazy. 3 tackles moved in the last 24 years.
That was my, and I put a tweet out today. I don't know. Did you see my
no,
tweet?
I didn't see your tweet. No.
Let me go see real quick because I actually did.
I'm with the people on the tackle depth. I mean, I knew tackles are teams want to keep their tackles, but I didn't know it was like that.
I did a poll, and actually this is interesting because who was your number one need?
We all said tackle is probably backup tackle.
Yeah. So I did a poll, and on my personal Twitter, and I just did what position groups or position would you want the Lions to trade for? I put offensive tackle, edge rusher. Let me see, what did I put? Corner, and then other. Who do you think? Let's do this. I want you to guess. Who do you think was ranked?
I would say out of positions.
Yeah.
I would say tackle, edge, DB.
Tackle was third. It was edge, deep. It was edge, corner, tackle.
Edge.
I was shocked, dude.
The edge
I was shocked.
back.
You know what? This edge situation, I get
it from like a depth perspective. I mean, I understand it because
I think we're,
but it's like if we're talking about actual need. I mean, you're like an injury away from having Skipper for the rest of the year, so like that's kind of
that's tough, dude.
But also, you could argue edge, like you're an injury away from having a Davenport who's like limped into the season. So I don't know.
Agreed.
DB should be last though. I don't know why anyone. I'm over the DB stuff, dude. I'm over it. I don't think they need DBs. I don't. I'm sorry. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but I don't get why that would even be second or first. I don't understand that.
I was shocked when I saw it, and then other had like 3 or 4%. It wasn't a lot, but I was actually shocked when I looked at the results. I was like, oh man,
it's the Tariq Woolen stuff.
It just sucked though that there's no tackle trades ever.
Yeah, I don't. What's the poll? Can you show it?
Oh yeah, I can. My bad.
Let me see this. I can't believe that. I mean, DBs, Brand. Like Weezy said, why don't they need DBs, dude? They're gonna have DJ's already coming back. TA's gonna come back.
How do I just?
Amik Robertson's already here. I mean, dude.
Yeah. 44%. There's 140 votes, and there's still 18 hours left.
What the hell's other? I mean, what's the other position?
No one commented. People just clicked other, and they didn't.
They just clicked other to be funny. I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah, I do that all the time on like YouTube polls and stuff. Like you guys put on your Lions Collective. Can we get to 400 likes? I'm like the one person that just clicks no for fun, just to see what's happening. So I would be another guy.
I don't understand the corner thing, man. Like, okay, fine. You trade for a corner. Cool. What happens? TA gets back. DJ Reader gets back. That corner doesn't play. So I don't understand what. Oh, you need another corner to play. Amik Robertson's here. I don't really understand. I mean, unless you want to bench TA, unless you firmly believe they should bench TA.
I think that's where a lot of people. I think there's a lot of people who aren't as confident in TA right now. Just because when he went out, obviously, like I didn't think in like the Cincinnati or some of those games he was that bad. Obviously, there was moments, but there were a lot of people who were on like the bench TA train when he got hurt and went down. So like recency bias. Last time a lot of those people saw him play, they're like, "We're out on him."
Yeah,
but I also do think there are people who have the thought process that I had the other day, where it's, hey, and Nick Whiteside, SBSU guy, love him, but you still want to see more out of some of these guys before you can really be like, that's great depth. You want to be able to see like a sample size. It's like you with AQM. Yeah, like AQM, I think has a 10 times more sample size than these DBs.
For sure.
And you still question it a little bit. So imagine some people's mindset with those secondary, the second unit DBs.
I like Amik. I like Rocky's scene. I like they got Maddox coming. Like I kind of like Whiteside, even if you're not confident. Like he'd be like your CB5. I mean, it's like, okay, like I don't know. Maybe again, if people think maybe I'm crazy, but I don't see the CB as like I don't know. I don't see maybe as a big of a need as everyone else does, but it is what it is. AG's Burners, the CB room is a little thin. I mean, right now, yeah. Right now, it looks that way. But DJ Reed will be back in the next couple. They're coming back.
Yeah. By the way, too, clarifying Josh Pascal's injury. I think it's good news Justin Rogers on the Collective confirmed he doesn't believe, and from his understanding, it's not. We talked about it on our show. Potentially, like the cancer thing came back. He confirmed that he doesn't believe that it is that it was an injury, potentially working out on his own outside of the Lions facility. It was a non-football injury, and they think it's just a normal injury. And I think he mentioned that he was working with the same trainer or something as Aleem was, and Aleem was a knee injury. So it's potentially connecting the dots. Could be a knee injury going on with Josh Pascal,
which is good.
Yeah, it's good, but it's not good, but it's good because it's not obviously the cancer.
If it's not cancerous, that's the big one. I mean, he said he saw he was working out with the same guy that was working with Aleem McNeil's. Yeah, so he was something maybe shoulder related, but
was it shoulder? I thought it was knee.
Or whatever it is. But the point is, it's non-football injury. So what that means, I think people probably assume the worst. That could mean he got injured off the field, though. Yeah. I know you said that.
I was like, for a second, I was like, I don't know if Jeff just...
No,
I think Jeff zoned out.
I'm making sure people really understand. Like, that's the big one. It doesn't, just because you see non-football, people need to, really read into that. Doesn't mean it has to be, cancerous or anything like that. Before we have the doc join, let me tell you about our friends over at Sleeper from this quick commercial, and then we'll talk to the DOC. We'll be back in a minute. I've interrupted the video to tell you about our friends over at Sleeper in the new promotion they have going on. A brand new promotion is now live on Sleeper that could be paired with the 100% deposit match promotion that's already been going on. It's a free $20, no deposit required, plus first-time users will also receive 100% deposit match up to $100. Use the code CT Sports. You guys should already be using Sleeper. It's one of the fastest organically growing fantasy platforms in the entire world with millions and millions of active users. They are crushing it. And if your state allows it, you should be using Sleeper Picks. It's a real money product that connects friends over picks. You just choose 2 to 8 of your favorite players from pregame live or across different sports. Pick more or less than the predicted stats. And on Sleeper, you can get up to 1,000x payouts. Share with your friends. Get rewarded together. Don't forget, code CT Sports. Get a $100 deposit up to $100, and you got your free $20 entry. Sleeper is taking care of their customers. Always remember, gamble responsibly. Now let's get back to the video. All right, it's time to welcome in our good friend, covers the Detroit Lions for Sports Illustrated, joins us every single Wednesday to give us all the insight as it pertains to the Detroit Lions. The one, the only, Mr. John Maakaron. Doc, how we doing?
I'm feeling good. The bye week really did me well, man. I felt great. I was actually getting a shave today, and the news broke. But look, you could tell everybody that was paying attention had that pre-written for months. We're now just paying attention to, what's going to happen at the deadline. It was a good day for the Lions to lock up Aidan Hutchinson. It was a good day. You just kind of feel like when you look at it collectively, a lot of the NFL world really feels like the Lions are doing the good things by drafting, developing, and signing their guys. And it was really great to see teams like the Cowboys and Jets wonder what the heck's going on with been going on with their organizations, because they're not as good as the Lions.
Yeah, Doc, as Nicky P said, and Ricky, we try.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Listen, look at that.
How about this?
That's where I literally was. They were laughing at me in the barbershop. We were having a good conversation, not about sports. And I'm like, oh, I got to stop this for a second. They're like, what do you mean? I got to get this out there. We already had it written. We just had to get the only word I had to add was 4 years. That's all I had to add.
When did you write this article?
Oh, in April, bro. When you do these kind of things, you realize that a lot of the news stories, you kind of expect at some point. So we wrote it in April, May, early on. And so if you read it, the early contract details weren't there. It's just a lot of information, basically just historical about who's been signed. We knew about the 5th-year option kind of stuff. So a lot of background details. So it was really cool to you find yourself in different spots when news breaks. And I'm going to tell you now, the Lions are finalizing a deal for Brian Branch. It might happen next year, but they're finalizing it. They're working on it. That's what I heard.
Are they?
Yeah, they're finalizing it with Brian Branch. But it could happen in August or September or October. They're finalizing it. You heard it here first.
Can I tell you this too, Doc? Being in this business 4 or 5 years now, at least for me, running socials at Woodward and then here, I have, and Jeff knows this, I have pulled over at the most random spots. Dan Skipper signed 2 years ago. One of his deals, I pulled over into an Arby's. I was on 75, and I had to pull over on the side of 75 when David Montgomery signed a contract coming from the Chicago Bears. I'm on the side of 75. What is it called? Hot spot on, making a graphic on Photoshop on the side of 75. Hey, Doc, I've been there. All right.
Yeah.
Can you take that? I don't want to call you out. Did you get a nice little shave at the top today, too?
Yeah,
I mean, this guy, he came fresh, dude.
He came fresh. Yeah, of course.
Wow.
Listen, the bye week didn't. Listen. I wasn't burnt out per se, but a little bit tired. Like it's the law of diminishing return. I've done this now since podcasting about the Lions since 2013. You get into a kind of a rhythm, so a lot of things kind of don't hit you the same. But I actually just with like 1 or 2 real days off where you have stuff already pre-planned did me well. I'm excited to get back after it. And so, I didn't put out a lot of videos, just do the basic articles, but just taking a couple of days off really did me well. I kind of missed it, and I'm ready for the second half of the year. And this Detroit football team's got me amped up because they're in the mix to be a team that can go deep in the playoffs. A lot of the fans are happy. They're 5-2. They're winning games when Brian Branch stood up there yesterday and said, our backups played better than the starters. It was really awesome to see because it's a credit to the organization that they actually have coaches that can prepare guys. That's just something we didn't see. Like we would always panic when there would be injuries because the next man up would be a disaster. This is actually where Dan says next man up. You can almost start to believe that the guys can do something. It's awesome. It's awesome to see.
Well, Doc, I'll get your initial thoughts. I mean, the random Wednesday at 11 a.m., Aidan Hutchinson's extended, and it's the most guaranteed money for a non-quarterback ever. What is your thoughts just looking at the contract? How important is it to get a player like Aidan Hutchinson tied down? And when you got to see that he got the most guaranteed, and then you got to see that it's 45 per year, what was kind of your thoughts? Are you surprised it wasn't more, or you think it's right where he should be? What kind of was your thoughts initially when it broke?
Really, credit to Aidan, man. He did a lot of work. First and foremost, from breaking his leg to being a better player to a guy that really is a staple. Look, I thought he would make more than $50 million. But look, I think that there's opportunities for everybody feels happy. He gets $141 million guaranteed. The way in which the Lions are structuring these deals is amazing. They're backloading them. They're using void years. They're having opportunities where you get still the 5th-year option. Remember, factually, Aidan's under contract currently through 2025 and 2026. This doesn't even kick in until 2027. So what that means is that you're looking at a core that I think is going to have multiple chances to get into the playoffs and will give you a chance to win the Super Bowl. So I listen, if you want to, I don't know really where people would come and complain about this deal. Everybody knew it. Like I said, everybody that writes for the Lions wrote this in April. We all knew it. Pundits outside were speculating that the deal would get done in September. Well, why was that? Because everybody knew Aidan is, and Brad Holmes, this is what's great. In the past, general managers would talk out of their ass. They would just say things, and then the players would get cut or they would leave, or you'd have guys like, Quandre Diggs who were performing and then they get traded because they had some complaints about the defense. And now it's a totally different vibe. Culture means you say you say your piece, you honor your word, and you go and do it, which is real simple. You get drafted by Brad Holmes, you're in the penthouse. If you execute for Brad Holmes, you're in the penthouse. And then it's so true. Draft, develop, extend. And you have a core group of guys that have talent, that actually perform. And part of the reason why Penei Sewell is an awesome player is he's going up against Aidan Hutchinson every day, good on good. It's just only going to make everybody better. And this is what culture means. Competitive guys that work hard, that want to be here, that can handle adversity. What happened to him last year? My goodness, he came back stronger, and he's a tough dude that is going to be the staple of the defensive line for many years to come. I cannot really see people complaining other than jealousy or really hardcore State fans that want to trash Aidan.
I was going to say, a Gator was saying it could be State fans.
It could be, and that's fine. We joke back and forth. I met Aidan's dad, and the first thing that he said was, couldn't Sports Illustrated get you a better lanyard? And I didn't catch it for a second until I looked down. I'm like, oh, that's good. And we joked around and said that, Aidan does a good job with it as well, joking around. He's a Michigan guy, but he welcomes all fans. And for State fans, we're just salty because our team is probably the worst it's ever been. And we don't want to see a Michigan guy get his millions of dollars. But listen, Aidan's a good dude, and he's a Detroiter. Like, he's everything you'd want in a defensive end. And now you just have to continue to build around him. And I think they've done a good job with that defense. And like I said, it's just a great deal. There's really no factual basis other than being a hater to not like this deal. It's well done, well crafted, gives you a chance still to add more talent, and you're still within reason having a decent amount of cap space. So it's all good. It's a celebratory day. And that's the way I kind of felt like it was online. Everybody was celebrating it, saying, wow, you had Sports Illustrated's Albert Breer call or text Dan Campbell, and Dan texts Albert regularly, and you get the numbers delivered to Sports Illustrated regarding the details of the cap. So day to celebrate the Detroit Lions and Aidan Hutchinson.
Yeah, Doc, I want to ask you, I was having this conversation and just thinking about this deal, how a lot of people expected Hutch to be around 50 million, if not more, and kind of reset the market again after Micah. He obviously goes 5 million less. What are your thought process? And I was going to ask you if you could even ask some of these players. I'm guessing it's off limits of a question, but do you think there are conversations in the building with some of these guys when it comes to like Amon-Ra, when he signed, and how his deal is so much lower than other guys? And some of these guys, it feels like they're taking a little less at times, or signing early enough to where you can get less and deals out of it, to where maybe they're saving money for some of the guys like Sam Laporta and Brian Branch. Do you think that's something in-house that all of these guys are aware of, and Brad's actually having these conversations with a guy like Hutch, telling him, hey, we'll give you 140 million guaranteed instead of 120 what Micah got, but can you take 5 less a year for us so we can take, that extra 20 and put it towards Sam Laporta? Do you think that's something that's being said in there, or is that something you're allowed to even ask these players?
I could ask it, but they don't really talk like in those kind of terms in regards to details. But I think the way in which you'd say it is, in a negotiation, everybody wants to feel okay. And I feel like in lieu of the fact he's not making as much annually as the others, getting $141 million, everybody gets a win. His agent gets to say that Aidan earned the highest amount of guaranteed money in the history of the league outside of a quarterback. That's a win. And the Lions get a win because they can structure it in a way where the cap hit is down the road. So it's a win-win. Listen, man, in the end, Aidan's salary doesn't stop at just his salary in the league. You know what I mean? He's a marketing dream. He has deals everywhere. So the extra millions that he gives up in terms of football, he could easily make up with House of Hutch. He could do it in marketing deals, the sponsors that he has. He can make up for it in a lot of different ways. And in the end, I don't think Aidan Hutchinson, who still, you heard, had lived with his parents, is not out here wilding out, spending a bunch of money. So he's a smart dude, and $45 million a year for the foreseeable future is pretty good. He signed as a number 2 overall pick. He earned a nice hefty amount of money. So the guy's doing okay. And for some people, you don't have to break the bank. And so I do believe that the Lions, to field a competitive team, will have guys that will take, it's not a hometown deal, but will not break the bank and go for it. So I think it's a great negotiation. And you're absolutely right. Just look at it from, if you're Aidan, you see Amon-Ra take 30, and everybody knows Amon-Ra probably is even worth more than that. So it's an amazing value deal, structured well. That's how the Lions have done it. And really, in the end, if you're Aidan Hutchinson and Brad Holmes and your agent come to you and say, listen, $141 million guaranteed, you're going to be like, wow, okay, what's the next numbers and all that kind of stuff. It's pretty good. I don't think this negotiation even probably took all that long. I think once Brad got to it, he started with some numbers. I would say, honestly, outside of the jokes we make, this deal was probably finalized truly over the last 2 weeks. That's the numbers they were looking at. I think Brad also wanted to see, with a nice little reminder, hey, what did Aidan Hutchinson look like? Once he got to look like, okay, we can see the tape. We can see what Aidan's about. We know he's back. Smart on the Lions. They saw what he brought to the table. He's back. He's better than what he was last year. Pressures galore. The numbers speak to what this guy can bring to the table. So in all factuality, not being in the room, there's no way this deal started to be finalized in September. It started to be probably looked at seriously in October, once everybody saw what Aidan brought to the table. And once the numbers, got sent to the agent's like, I like these numbers. And here we are.
Yeah, Doc, I know we talked about it at the beginning of the show too. Out of the next, people always look at what's next. The other 4 players that are on people's radar to be extended: Brian Branch, Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs, Jack Campbell. In your mind, 3 of them coming from the same draft class, or all 4 of them, excuse me, coming from the same draft class, first and second round. And obviously 2 of them have a 5th-year option. How do you see that thing shaking up? Is there going to be a player potentially left out, or you think maybe with Taylor Decker's future, maybe saving some money there? Do you think there's a scenario in which they could potentially keep all of these players? Where are you at with that big 4 from that draft class?
Yeah, no doubt about it. Real fast, let me take a call from a source here. I'm going to tell you guys, I typically don't reveal my sources, but learning some things, I have a new one. I'm going to have, hey, Diana Rossini, 1 second here. I'm out with my fellas. Hold on 1 second here. I'll give you some information. You know what? We'll talk soon. Okay.
Oh,
now, if the chat knew what me, Peter, and Heffy were talking about earlier today, we'd be thrown off the air.
Doc, you know what we were talking about.
Yeah. Diana is my friend, and she's a good gal, and she's a great reporter. And
did you ever have Diana on your show?
I should have her on my show. Well, listen, let's be honest here. I got to check the validity of what the heck she's been spewing on the internet. She put out a report that really makes no sense. Listen, Jimmy Sexton is a high profile agent. He never puts out statements. I'm talking about ever. And he had to put out a statement like, hey, we are not seeking NFL jobs right now. And so there could be some finagling of some information in the way in which she presented. But hey, you got to do what you got to do, man. It was hilarious the way she backpedaled a little bit on that. And that's kind of the side of the business that you don't really like in regards to, if you like, I didn't hear the whole interview that she just did with Dan Le Batard, but the way in which she discussed it kind of made it sound like she made it up. But I have to listen to it all because she backtracked quite a bit. But that's not how you do things. You're supposed to say the way she's supposed to say it and defend herself is, I did not hear from the agents, but I heard from a very close source to Mr. Sarkisian that there's interest. And it didn't come off as firm and defendable. It came off as a little bit meek. But listen, that's a national reporter. I don't do things that way. And that's why I joke around in that the information I present is stuff that I've actually heard from people that will be okay if I share it. But I'd like to talk to her. I would like to talk to her and give her some information.
What do you make of the big 4 though, Doc?
Yes.
Doc didn't even, honestly, I love the Doc so much is him bringing up Diana Rossini had nothing to do with your question. Yeah. He just wanted at some point in this show to bring Rossini in, and he just did it at the most random time.
And listen, you guys can all look it up and we'll have a laugh regarding what we're talking about. It's a fun job to look at how people maneuver their job and how they want to, like, I mean, like, and if you really want to dive deep, Colin Cowherd really dove deep into kind of the media psyche and how some of these people are. Like, they do really want to write for the other media. Like, I want to feel respected I want to put out news. Like, okay. Aaron Rodgers really did not like when she came to town to cover the Jets. It was crazy. Now, the big 4, the big question is, and everybody's worried, all right, who is off the island because of these deals? It's tough. Now, it's really, really tough because some people are saying, well, maybe the opportunity is there to get everybody. I would think that the level of talent, you're not going to lowball anybody. But when Jahmyr Gibbs gets his contract, his time is up. When Jack Campbell's time is up, Brian Branch, Sam Laporta, one of those guys is going to get a monster offer from another team. And they're going to have to make a choice. I don't think the Lions are going to boot anybody. But you look at it and you say, listen, the way in which, first and foremost, they talk about Jack Campbell, the captain of the defense, you're probably going to let Alex Anzalone go. He's on the island. He's a staple. The defensive coordinator is a former linebacker. So I think he's on the island. He stays. Jack will take a fair deal and will be here for his career. He's a loyal guy. I don't see him causing any problem. His will get done probably in July of the time when he can get it done. He'll just get it done. There'll be no noise around it. It'll just be, I got a deal, and we'll keep it moving. Brian Branch is going to be tough because do you pay 2 safeties $20 million? That's going to be a guy I think could be poached from another team who will offer him that much money because you've already paid it to Kirby Joseph. So you have an opportunity. Maybe you go that route if you're going to say who are the people that could be gone, I think you look at it and you say, I think you're going to, with the head coach being a tight end, you realize you can do some things too. I feel like if you're going to do it, they haven't done it yet, but you can play the franchise tag with, and it's a tough business, but I feel like the position that kind of gets treated that way is the running back position. You keep Jahmyr Gibbs for all 5 years, you get that franchise tag, you run him into the ground, and then you get the next running back. That's just the way of the world. And are you going to pay Jahmyr Gibbs $20 million a year at 27, 28 years old when probably you can replace that position with the speedy guy? I think that not off the island, but we'll have a chance to earn two guys that will have a chance to earn competitive deals elsewhere will be Jahmyr Gibbs and Brian Branch. Those are tough positions. There's tough, but I do think that Sam Laporta and Jack Campbell are guys that I think for sure will be here. And I think that the conversation will be had deeper regarding Gibbs and Brian Branch.
Yeah, Doc, I want to kind of just carry off of that because I think something that no one really talks about, and we actually haven't talked about it. This is the first time I brought it up. Do you think there's a world where some of these contracts that's already been done that Brad moves off of them to be able to keep other guys? Like, I don't know how crazy that is, but like a JMO with the contract he has in a couple of years, like a year or two, like where he's like, all right, we got to get, Brian Branch done. We got to move off someone, or we got to, I don't know. I'm just trying to brainstorm different ways to keep them and kind of think outside the box a little bit. Do you think there's a different world where something like that happens?
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that can happen with the cap. First of all, most people presume you're going to add $40 to $50 million in cap space by restructuring Goff, which will tie him here for the foreseeable future. And he's your guy for the next 5-6 years. You're going to get a lot of money in cap relief. And then the cap goes up $20 million a year. So you realize there's going to be money that comes off the books with potentially if Taylor Decker retires, Graham Glasgow, other guys that you don't sign. So I'm of the opinion that they're not going to be in cap peril. The Lions seem to be managing this in a great way. There's always opportunities to finagle deals, make trades, have things happen. So the Lions in their cap space has just been not a subject to be concerned about. Now, the issue at hand is going to be, well, does that preclude them from going after a high-priced external option? Probably. That's what it means, is that if you're, maybe the first guy that's got to be looked at is if there's going to be a contentious negotiation, could be Amik Robertson. He could be looking at he could be looking at wanting $6 to $8 million a year or more. And could that be available for him? I hope so, because he's a guy that has earned it, is a captain of that defense, and has done everything the coaching staff has asked, has really anchored a defense without some of the starters. So I hope there's money left for Amik Robertson. I would think that he's earned it. And hopefully he continues to have a good second half of the year. I feel like he's a contender. And realize too that, the way in which this cap has been masterfully done hasn't been always the case with the Lions. And listen, when people say the cap isn't real, it's a notion that if you expertly handle it, you can push money down the road. But eventually the money is going to run out. That's why I cannot foreshadow 4 of the next guys getting the money that's being spread around. More guys would have to take deals. And in the end, most guys are in it for the biggest value. So that's why I think Gibbs and Branch, not by force, like saying, hey, we don't want you. I think that if they just go with, hey, if their agent tells them like it is, like, hey, who's going to give you the most money? I think that Branch and Gibbs will garner some heavy attention in the open market. And you just go from there, because guys, remember too, the draft is always available. That's how I always looked at it. I never got attached. Like, I feel like everybody gets all panicky. Oh, if they let all 4 go, I feel like the Lions have done such a good job that it's time to continue to trust Brad Holmes, that whoever and also too, I think the answer to some of these questions will start to be revealed by this next draft. Some of the key talent that could be if they get a linebacker in the first round, or they look at a linebacker in the first couple days, if they look at a tight end, then you start to get some clearer picture. Do they get a safety, a defensive back in the first couple rounds? So you'll start to get some clearer pictures as to kind of who's been a replacement. You clearly understand Jack Campbell's here. He's a staple. That's an easy one. Sam Laporta, I think when Dan Campbell comes out and says boldly, I am very happy with these two guys. He's asked, hey, who stood out? He's asked boldly. He's like, Sam Laporta, we ask him to do everything. So the head coach is a tight end. He's not going to just let the guy leave. He's going to kind of fight for Laporta. Like, hey, it's my guy. Like, we're asking, like, they literally ask Laporta to block big dudes. And Laporta's like, come on, dude, like, help me out. And he's like, go block and win. And they challenge him. So that's a staple. That's a guy. They're never letting him go. And Jack Campbell as well. I think Kelvin Shepherd, maybe if he takes another job, maybe you look at Jack Campbell in a different way. But it starts to lend itself to some clear picture if you know relationships and you know kind of how the league is. I feel like running back and wide receiver are positions that are just coming up in droves where maybe you won't get a Jahmyr Gibbs, but you can get a darn good running back in the next 4 years. Trust me.
Now, Doc, I guess we'll just transition the conversation before we get to the Vikings game. The next time we talk to you, it'll be after the trade deadline. So I know you've already spoke about it before and how you believe the Lions need to add. But what's kind of your feeling now a week away? Is there a sense you have, and not about what you want, but that's more so what Brad will actually do? Booner was talking about a poll he put up earlier, what Lions fans think the Lions need. Number 1 was edge. Number 2 was DB. And number 3 was tackle. What do you think the Lions should do going into Tuesday? And what do you think they'll actually do? What's a fair expectations for fans going into Tuesday?
Proud of you, Booner. I'm proud of you guys. You listen. Yeah, they need Doc. Clearly. Defensive end, offensive lineman, and cornerback. Yeah, they need Doc.
Get him, Doc.
I still haven't read I haven't wrote the headline yet. I've been thinking about it. But listen, man, I sit here and I would love the Lions to go all in and make moves and call Trey Hendrickson and call nonstop. But the Bengals are never getting rid of Hendrickson. That's an ultimate sign of giving up. So you're not going to get the A+ guy. So you're not getting Myles Garrett, Max Crosby, Trey Hendrickson. I just hope that they call and throw it out there that they called at least. And they did. The Bengals, I mean, it's almost certain. I don't have to listen. I can tell you without being reporting it. Doc is speculating that Brad has picked up the phone and called the Bengals and said, hey, what's up with Trey? And they're like, no. And he's called back and said, hey, what about today? And they're like, no. So you hope that the Bengals get their ass whooped this week and maybe there'll be some movement by Monday. But they got to maximize their the Bengals got to maximize their return. So you just keep saying no until Monday at like 8 p.m. You start calling up Brad and be like, okay, what about that first rounder? I got you start lying. You just openly lie. The Packers are kind of interested in giving up a first rounder, but these guys all talk to each other. They all know what it's going to take. So I don't think grand slam. I think similar to how the Rams did it, you just go out there and get a position of need. I think the guy that just kind of fits is the defensive back from Seattle. Rick Woolen is a guy that just doesn't fit. It's not a talent issue. He doesn't fit. They play a lot of zone out there in Seattle if you go watch, and he plays a lot of man-to-man. He fits here in Detroit. So if they can work something out, I feel like Rick is in that position where he might be the biggest profile guy you can get, but there's a lot of names out there. I do feel like they'll add 1 or 2 pieces, but they'll be in regards to depth. I feel like those are the positions you're talking about. Everybody's on it. Defensive line, offensive line, cornerback could be an area, maybe a tight end, because when you look at the film, I just spent some of the time. Brock Wright's been okay, but his blocking hasn't been to what his standards are. He's had kind of a down year in regard to everything that you've seen. And I've kind of been a little bit surprised by that, given the financial commitment that they've made. So you could look to another tight end that's a true blocking tight end. They did add one from the 49ers. So we'll see if there's a chance. You hear names like people say Arden Key and stuff like that. That's fine. But those are guys that will come here and perform, but won't be impactful to the degree that they're going to do something crazy. So I feel like the honest answer would be it's going to be like a B-, C+ kind of situation. And they'll go out there and get somebody safe, and everybody will be okay. But remember, the Lions truly will try to sell, and it's not a bad idea. You're getting Davenport back. You're getting potentially Ahmed Hassanin back when you bring him back and sign him. You're getting you still have Wingo that's been a healthy scratch. You get maybe if we can find Josh Pascal and see if he'll get out there, you have the opportunity to go out there and handle business. And I feel like you're not going to be super excited, but you got a good team. And look, in the end, I could be totally wrong, but listen, all the reporting, Brad Holmes keeps it tight. And I'm very happy that this football team is 5-2, where it's the way I put it on X at Detroit Podcast is, you know, you don't really have all that many needs. You have some just wants that if you add will make everybody feel a little bit better. You have a good football team that's 5-2, and Dan and Brad have sold it well enough to say, listen, let's take our soldiers and let's go out there and handle business. So I'm having a great opportunity to kind of say, you know what, as much as I would scream and yell, go get everybody, they've sold me, man. Go with it. If they do nothing, you could say, hey, wait a minute. You added Nick Whiteside. You added some potential. I think the names you're all hearing are all the same. Jalen Phillips from Miami, Chubb, or whatever his name is. The other guy from Miami. You're hearing all these names. They could do it all. Look to see the Saints. Look to the Browns, Jaguars, guys that are teams that they've traded with before. You know, so we'll see what they end up doing. But I just feel like they'll fill it out with competition. It won't be crazy, but it'll be something that people could potentially talk about. But in the end, guys, let's credit the team. They're 5-2, and they just came off a game where their starters, entire secondary wasn't there, and they played okay. So it's very much in line with, you know, maybe the biggest priority, if you really, really think about it. If this game doesn't go right against the Vikings, then you would look to maybe an offensive lineman, a reserve, to potentially shore up the biggest. You start with the basics. If you're bright, Goff is making $50 million. Protecting his ass is the most important investment you can make. And if Taylor Decker is not going to be 100%, then you have to get an offensive lineman. So we'll find out more after the Vikings game.
Yeah, Doc, let's just talk about this real quick. Coming off the bye week, I know Dan Campbell spoke to the media and you guys already a few times this week. You guys spoke with coordinators, a couple players. What are your thoughts specifically from what you've been hearing and even you personally coming out of the bye week on what this Lions team through the first kind of 7-8 weeks, what they need to kind of work on and get better going into this final stretch of the season, heading into the playoffs?
Yeah, look, pass protection, and making sure that Jared Goff is playing at the highest level. Dan Campbell's talked about execution on third down. Let's just look at it globally, offensively. When you look at it, it hasn't been good enough as of late. And you've obviously had some shuffling in regards to, you know, the offensive line. So I get it. You started off hot after that game against the Packers. The offense dipped a little bit. They are definitely, clearly, Goff and Amon-Ra have a connection. They are on point. Gibbs is emerging, but you got to find a way to get everybody else involved. And it's a good problem to have. You're 5-2, and you're still figuring out ways to get David Montgomery, Laporta, and Jamo more footballs. That's awesome. I think that's a great scenario for this football team. I do want to see more explosive plays. Now, most people are going to say pass rush. I do think it's been okay. Like, you got Aidan Hutchinson doing some things with pressures, and Al-Quadin Muhammad, the return of Aleem McNeil. DJ Reader has been a force. So the defensive line has done a decent job overall. Now, could you always improve it? Absolutely. But the Lions are going to say, well, we got three guys potentially that we can get more out of: Wingo, Pascal, and Davenport, and Ahmed Hassani. That's 4 dudes. 4. So what do you guys think is going to happen? That they're going to go out and get a Granderson from the Saints, or trust one of the 4 guys that they scouted? So as much as, you know, I would love that to go out and get externally, they've beaten me down to the point where I believe them. Like, until I see it, I can only report that the Lions love their evaluations of their own guys. They love the Pat O'Connors. They love the guys that they've brought along, and they love Wheat. They love guys that have been in the system and been here. And it kind of feels too like, you know, when you give a gift to a guy to go outside the organization, you're like, hey, you're coming to a football team that has a bunch of things in place already. So I get it. I know the love that they have for the internal guys, and I can respect it. Like, they've said it enough, you almost start to believe it. So, but could things be improved? Of course. The interior of the defensive line can always improve. But again, that wasn't the strength. Like, DJ Reader, Tyleik Williams, and Aleem McNeil are not sack masters. Like, that's not their job. Their job is to stuff the run, fill the gaps, and complete the puzzle so that guys like Jack Campbell, Derek Barnes, and guys like Alex Anzalone, guys like Aidan Hutchinson are going to get the sacks. That's the way the defense is clearly showing. Oh, I love the stream. The guys in the stream are like, we need more from Tyleik Williams, the rookie. Well, he ain't like I know everyone says he's a great pass rusher, but he's not a great pass rusher. Like, that's not the case. You could say, hey, we can get a defensive tackle and go get it, but I feel like the Lions are pretty satisfied with how the puzzle has looked so far, especially when you realize this defense, if you get DJ Reed back and Terrion Arnold steps it up in the second half, you have a chance for this puzzle piece to kind of fit and play at a good level. So we'll see. We shall see. I wonder. The question I would ask, there's only really one question I would ask Brad Holmes is, do you feel this is the year where you're the closest you've been to a Super Bowl to push all in? And I think they would say, you know what, we've done such a good job. No, like he would say, no. He would say, you know what, we feel like every year we can be similar to this if we put it together a good roster. So I feel like all of us are scarred from Scott Harris, and we all want them to go do something big. But this group, you can legitimately say, has done well enough that, to me, in past years, I would scream and yell if they didn't do nothing. This year, I could almost make the case that if they did nothing, they've done a good enough job to put this roster in a competitive spot to give you a chance in the playoffs.
Doc, I don't know if we really asked you fully, but for the fans, what's the timeline look like for some of these guys coming off injuries? I mean, you have Kirby, Brian suspension, but he'll be back. But Kirby, Davenport, DJ Reed, etc. Obviously you have guys like Maddox who kind of got worked back. He's coming back. Malcolm Rodriguez. What are you hearing, Doc? What have you seen? And what's like a realistic timeline to get some of those starters back for the next couple of weeks?
Yeah, I would think that, let's start with Rodriguez practicing this week, a couple weeks. So you figure he's not going to go this week or next week. You figure the Eagles, would be a nice opportunity to get him going. Maybe you wait a little bit until after. So you'll see a couple weeks. Typically, they've kind of given guys a couple weeks to get their legs under them, and he can get after it. So Davenport, Dan did not give a timeline. So I would think towards the end of, middle to end of November, he starts practicing. And Dan did say, we're going to be good in November, December. So I think that early December might be the expected return date where Davenport will practice. Probably similar with Hassanin. The middle to end of November might be some time you hear some buzz, and then you'll get those guys back in December. Terrion Arnold is practicing. I foreshadow him playing. DJ Reed, I think, is another week away from showing up at practice. And, he started working with trainers. So that could mean next week he practices and then gets after it for the Eagles. You get all your horses back for the Eagles in a game that's going to have NFC ramifications. So it's a good time, man. It's listen, Davenport, you just throw his name out there, but he's a guy that you just anything you can get is a bonus. I think the question mark is, and we don't ask it as much because Dan hasn't been forthright at all. It's the second week. We've asked every 2 weeks what's going on with Pascal, and he said the same. He's getting a little bit better, but we don't know his timeline. So I would also put him in December. The guy that people were a little concerned about was Kirby Joseph. We'll know more tomorrow if he gets back at practice. He wasn't there on Tuesday, so I would think that this week might be a stretch, and you probably would feel more comfortable with him practicing next week and getting after it against the Commanders. Listen, I'll be honest. I do think that them being 5-2, playing JJ McCarthy, getting Branch back, the confidence that you got with Hallett and Harper, do you really need Kirby Joseph this week? JJ McCarthy's ass, from my opinion. Listen, I can only go by what I saw. He can't cheat. He can't cheat his way in the NFL. They would actually go with a guy whose shoulder's about to fall off over JJ McCarthy. What does that really say? That they would have said, Wentz, he's out there dying on the field, and they're like, you go out there. And they're like, okay. I was like, man, that must mean that JJ sucks. And when you turn on the film, he had a little brief nugget, but he's raw, and the Lions are going to abuse him. And they're probably like, oh my God, this is great. So I feel like Kirby gets a free vacation playing JJ McCarthy this week. And I think this week was the week we see the helmet slam from Justin Jefferson. He's going to get pissed on the sideline. And I think that Amik Robertson and Terrion Arnold are going to confuse the hell out of Justin Jefferson. The guy that I think could have a game is Addison. That dude's just a pest, and he's just always around the football. So I think the Lions will do enough to limit Jefferson, and Addison will get his, but the Lions are going to win, I think, easily. I think the spread keeps going up. I think the Lions are going to win by 2 touchdowns. And so I think giving Kirby Joseph giving him another week off. I don't think you need him. I don't think you need him at all this week. Most people believe the Lions are going to steamroll the Vikings, and I truly believe it. There's no way they keep up. And this is great. I'm really appreciative of the fact that this schedule laid out this way. Yeah, and Corey asked too about Avonte Maddox. He practiced from the first day, so I think that he's on his way back. So that you get another replacement too as well. You get a nice rotation with Avonte Maddox, and I think Hallett and Harper are competing every single week for playing time. It's pretty good, man. It's pretty good. Let Kirby sit. Let him get right. Let him feel good when he comes back.
What do you think over the next 2 or 3 weeks, Doc? You have this game versus the Vikings. You have Commanders. You have Eagles. How do you look at this stretch kind of going here over the next few weeks for this Lions team?
Yep. I did a wonderful job this month after the bye week. The first day back, I dropped an updated game-by-game prediction, which you can find at Detroit Lions on SI. It's always there. It's available, and you can just Google it. Lions updated game predictions, SI. You will find it. And so, originally, for all the haters out there that think, oh, Doc's a hater, Doc doesn't know football, I had the Lions at originally 11 wins. Okay, so I was pretty happy with this roster. So my thinking has always been, are they Super Bowl caliber? And they're getting there. They're in the conversation, and they're getting me a little bit sold that they could, compete at the highest level to get one. I still think the Bills are the favorite, but their defense is a little suspect. So if you get your offense going, look out. This could be the year. This could be the year. Go out to San Francisco. It could be like really full circle. You suffer in San Francisco, and you go out there and you get revenge out there in San Francisco. Man, could that be the storyline, the dream scenario? Man, sorry, what was it again? Hit me again with what the question was. I forgot. I really forgot.
I just asked the kind of your thoughts on the next few weeks of the line, matchups and
game by game predictions. Yeah. I did a wonderful job, and so I got them losing 2 games the rest of the way. This is a 13, and most likely I'm going to give you the fan perspective and what realistically could happen. The fan in me says you lose just 2 more games. You lose to the Rams, you lose to the Eagles, and you win out. And I say, why not? You're playing good, you're gritty. 13-4, baby. Now, realistically, there's going to be a slip up somewhere. There's going to be a game you get boned. Something happens. You might lose to the Giants where you're overlooking them. Jackson Dart has a miracle game, or Aaron Rodgers goes off. So you might have a loss in the mix there that you're not expecting. So realistically, I think you go probably 12-5 with the way the schedule lays out. This is the toughest stretch right here. The next 3 weeks are tough. You dominate the Vikings. So that's easy. That's 6-2. I think you beat the Commanders because you got the motivation right there. Literally Dan walks in and is like, they effed up our season last year. We're going to whoop their ass. And who knows what's going to happen with Jaden Daniels. He's having an up and down year. Their defense is exposed. You can do some things. So I'm talking about you're going to whoop their ass. I'm talking about it's going to be all the trick plays, J-Mo with 4, 5, 6 touchdowns. And you're going to whoop their ass because you're going to have the psychological advantage. You're going to go out there and just see red. And if they have any spirit of grit, then forget it. Forget it. The Commanders are over. They're going to whoop them. And then you go to the Eagles and you're going to have all the shenanigans, the big NFC matchup, the tush push. Do you get any calls against the Eagles? No. They're going to have everything. Devonta Smith is crazy. So you take the loss. So I think you go 2-1. And you come back and you whoop the ass of the Giants. And I'm talking about you feel good after you whoop their ass. And the rest of the schedule puts it in a spot where, look, a guy like Steve can say 14-3. You almost could believe it. But let's talk realistically here. You can't get up for every single game every single week. Something's going to happen. So let's start with Fanboy 13-4. Realistically, 12-5 is on the table for this football team. It's a good time, guys. Celebrate it. Enjoy it. Really take it all in because we could be watching a really special team if they kick it into gear. Imagine they're 5-2 and they can do so much better in so many areas. You got to look at it like Dan's got to be excited. Like you're 5-2 and you've played a probably B- football to start the year. B-. Your offense on third down is not good enough. You're making mistakes offensively. Blocking is inconsistent across multiple domains. Man, when they tighten it up throughout this next 10-game stretch, they're going to go into that playoffs hopefully healthy, primed to do some things. I'm excited, man. I'm excited. And like I said, I feel like, what's the drawback other than a catastrophic injury? This is a time to truly enjoy this year of football, and I am definitely one of the people enjoying it. One of the most enjoyable seasons I've had, and every word I write, I feel comfortable smiling writing about the Detroit Lions.
Well, Doc, you mentioned the offense on third down. I'd like to ask you about the offense, and you kind of teased the Vikings game, what you think will happen. But is it fair to expect a get-right game for this offense, given the J-Mo questions? Everyone's talking about J-Mo this week, getting him more involved. John Morton during the bye week, I'm sure, kind of did some self-scouting. Dan Campbell, same thing. What's a fair expectation? Good defensive coordinator in Brian Flores, but I just talked about this today. The Lions have beaten the Vikings the last 5 times and have scored 30 points in every single one of those wins. Is it fair to expect another 30 bomb and the offense correcting itself, getting better, getting back on track?
Absolutely, man. I think clearly J-Mo's going to get more touches. Jameer, listen, they're going to bring the pressure. They're going to try and confuse everybody, but what's going to be great is I think Goff can get the ball out quickly. He knows how to handle things in a great way. And I don't think that J.J. McCarthy can keep up. So I just think, first and foremost, when we say get right, the offense is playing okay. We're talking actually now at the level, which is great. This is the zone we want to be in, where we go, yeah, they're scoring, but we could be better. This is championship zone, where you go, man, remember too, let's first and foremost, it's not easy for Goff and Amon-Ra to connect at this level. It's not easy for Gibbs to have these explosive plays and to take that next step. So first and foremost, you got 2 guys cooking. To get J-Mo cooking, you got to get him involved. You got to be more creative. Laporta is going to be a guy I think that's going to be key in this game. So now we're at the level where we go, yeah, they won, but what do the style points look like? Are they executing at a high level? Are there areas that they can improve upon on third down and scoring after turnovers and executing on different calls against different looks, getting into the right play on certain looks? So this is amazing. This is championship level assessment where it's good, but not good enough. And this is great. And I don't think they need to get right. I just need to execute, get more guys involved, and get more explosive plays. Open it up a little bit, kind of have the puzzle fit a little bit better. And you can't have J-Mo 2 targets. Listen, I don't care if he puts any happy or sad emojis. He doesn't need to. Everybody knows. You look at the sheet and you go, J-Mo only got 2 targets. What the hell happened? Play call. Some of the schemes were blocked up. Some of the looks didn't look right. Doesn't matter. Here's the easiest thing. You can do all the analytics and all the, we need to do this kind of play and that kind of play. Just put the ball in his hands. Like, turn around and pitch him the ball and let him go. Like, do some creativity. Like, you can get creative looks for J-Mo outside of the passing game. Put the ball in his hands and see what happens. And again, too, we were told the reason why people are like, well, J-Mo's okay, J-Mo's okay. We were told by the Lions he was going to have a breakout year. We were told that he's expanded his route tree. We were told that this is the best he's ever looked. Well, you aren't doing the same things to would indicate that based on the play calls. He's running his average depth of target is 17 yards. You're only running a certain play for him. He can do so much more. Dig routes, slant routes, screens, variety of different screen looks. You could just turn around and give him the football. You can do so many different things to get him the football that you're not doing. And look, in the end, the game against the Eagles really opened my eyes. And the announcer said it. They said the Vikings never give up big plays. Ever done. And look what's happening. Devonta Smith is out there schemed open based on certain looks earlier. So don't tell me Tampa 2, they're taking J-Mo away. Bullshit. If you're J-Mo and you out there, you stand on the sideline, you say, bullshit, I don't care about Tampa 2. I don't care if they're trying to take it away. Throw me the damn ball. Ball's in my hand. 50-50 balls are going my way. So don't tell me that we take what the defense gives you. That guy's a playmaker, so get him involved. And he will be. No doubt about it. There's no way you're going to give him 2 looks. That's just not enough. And look, in the end, you're not going to put the ball in risky positions, but your defense has shown you can give it a little trust. You can push a little bit. And Jared said it. What did Jared say? And I'm thankful when he wins, he's honest. He said, I'm looking for more ways to be aggressive. You read that on Lions on SI this morning. That's what he said to the media. I'm looking for more ways to pull the trigger, throw the damn ball. Stop being risk averse. Your defense will protect you. Don't worry. Booner's going to be nice to you if you throw a pick. Doc, maybe not so much, but Booner will be nice to you. Don't worry. Just handle business, and I think they will. You're going to need to. You got 2 weeks to study this offense and keep it moving because you're going to need to score a shit ton of points against the Eagles. You're going to need 35 to beat the Eagles. Minimum.
Wow, Doc, I want to just coming off the bye, going into this last second half of the season, thoughts on just honestly just both coordinators. This was like such a big talking point going into the season. And actually, Doc, I think we had the conversation with you before the season about the coordinators that we're going to know a lot about them and what they are going into the bye week. Like that's kind of like the point to where it's like, okay, we know if they're good enough or not. What are your thoughts on John Morton and as well as Kelvin Shepherd? Who's done a better job, and who do you think needs to kind of improve a little bit more?
Well, first of all, is Kelvin Shepherd going to be here next year? Is LSU going to steal him? Listen, that's a fun conversation. We're going to know more Friday, or actually, we're going to know more Thursday when he talks to the media. It's going to be a fun talk. I think he'll definitely, the line's going to be straightforward. I love my alma mater, but I'm focused 100% on making sure this defense is thriving. But it'll be a good question. I can't wait to see how he answers it because, if you look at it culture-wise, he's a perfect fit. Like literally, Kelvin Shepherd's the guy, but, not a lot of experience, but he's got opportunities. But I do think that he's on the path, the trajectory of being an NFL coach. But it's always nice to be flirted with, and I would think that he'll be on everybody's list, maybe even on an interview list to at least go down there and talk and see. And listen, if they're offering you $50 million to leave, you know what I mean? $50 million plus buyouts. You got to go take it, man. You 3-4 years, waste your time down there. You get $50 million to leave. That's a nice retirement package that everybody's got to at least look at. But that guy, Kelvin's on the path to be an NFL coach. You know that. He's legitimately awesome. He's so good. He coaches so well. You don't even need your second best defender on the field. You don't need him if he's not healthy. And I think some of your chat are like penny wise and pound foolish. Like, you don't need him. Like if Calvin, and remember too, you have to actually listen to Dan Campbell talk. He gives you the formula. So being that I'm there quite a bit, I can tell you the formula. Dan said it. In essence, we didn't play Kirby because his production against the Chiefs was bad, and his production against the Chiefs was bad because he was hurt. So you're winning. You don't need him. So yeah, I'm telling you, you don't need your second best defender because you're not playing. And also too, it's kind of, I'm going to also streams. I'm going to tell you, JT McCarthy's ass. You don't need him. I'm telling you that because I think he sucks. And yeah, you don't need him. You don't need him. And also too, to F around. And because you're enjoying listening to my face, which you should, because I'm interesting. That's why you sit through it all. You don't even need Brian Branch. JJ McCarthy's ass, bro. Like when you see him, he's like, oh, that guy can't read defenses. Oh, he's raw. Guess why he's raw? Because I love Dan Campbell. They ran a pro-style offense, which was code for they didn't let the guy throw the ball. Very good code. And it's exposed. Now, he will eventually become good. Listen, I'm not saying that he's not. He's got it, but this is now. Now, JJ McCarthy sucks, so you don't need him. So it's fun. It's a great opportunity to say those kind of things. So that's how I look at it.
Hey, Doc, I didn't even, before we get to, because we have mailbag, people have got some questions for you. I didn't get your thoughts on what do you think of the former Lions, CJ Gardner-Johnson, going back to the NFC North? What do you think of that, Doc?
Yeah, absolutely. And then just real fast, I talked about John Morton. He just got to kind of pick it up. He's got to meet the standard of where this offense is, and it's a high ceiling. John Morton, I think, will do a lot better with the play calls. He will get after it. Now, I put it when I saw the news, I put this is great for the Lions. There's always, it's weird because I just think that CJ Gardner-Johnson is kind of like the streams of your chat. He's good to be around, but he's annoying. You know what I mean? It's like he just annoys people. And you just see the comments. You're like, okay, he's got talent. He sees things. He understands things, but he doesn't understand fully the nature of how to get along in the pond. So that's fine. I think that they needed the help, and Ben Johnson knows what he can bring to the table. It's good competition for. He's going to annoy the hell out of Caleb Williams, and I think that's a little bit of a shot to Caleb. Like, hey, let's get some competition going and let's get after it. But for some reason, and I guess from the experience that I had with him, is that he's got talent, but the talent is not enough to justify his loud, brash personality. I think that bouncing around this year should kind of ease up a little bit with Chicago, and I think that'll be the case. He got his ring. He's a talented dude, but he comes with a lot of personality, and man, does he like attention. And he's a guy that has a huge ego, and his talent is okay, but not to the level of where you go, man, you're not a game-changing piece anymore. But he'll be a nice fit there. It doesn't matter. The the Bears have holes along their offensive line and their execution and their discipline. And you got Caleb Williams, who's still learning that system, which takes a little bit of time to be able to execute. So that loss to the Ravens was pretty bad for the Bears, and it's good on them. But it's interesting. I like seeing personalities like CJ Gardner-Johnson in the league, but not with the Lions.
To start us off with Mailbag, we got our first one. MC3 Who Dat says, Mailbag, does the schedule actually seem slightly easier now than it did in the summertime?
Yeah, I wouldn't say easier. No, this is the kind of the way we look at it. This was going to be a nice stretch. The games we would have thought, the Ravens would have been a loss, and we thought that potentially some of the road games would have been more challenging. So, look, the teams are kind of where the games against the Packers and the Vikings in the second half of the year are going to be challenging. The Bears, by the time the Lions in December and January get to the Bears, it's going to be a nice fight. So it's a fair word to say slightly easier, but each team presents a different kind of challenge. But you are getting a little bit lucky with some of the injury luck that has kind of permeated, because the Bengals having Joe Burrow out was crazy. It's unbelievable. So it's really fun to look at this schedule and to realize, man, 13 wins is legitimate. But I look at it like every week presents itself, because things can change in the blink of an eye with injuries and how things shake out. Like the Dallas game, Dallas is a unique team. The Giants could be a unique team as well. If Jackson Dart picks it up a little bit, he can single-handedly do some things, maybe not enough to win a game, but enough to make it interesting. So I would say that we definitely hyped up the schedule to be really tough, and it has lessened, but each week is still tough, man. You don't play good, you're going to end up losing. So the league is tough, but I think what's great is that the Lions can play a B game and still win games, which has been great.
Get a boy, want to ask you, who are your top 3 MSU head coach candidates?
Yeah.
Even though they haven't fired their head coach.
No, Get a boy one knows it's over. John, listen,
yeah,
it ain't John Smith's fault. They fired his boss. Like, they fired the guy that brought him in. So he's probably pissed. Like, who cares? Like, when you got 30, that's what I think is ruining college football, is these buyouts. Like, literally, if you're a human being, you're like, so they're going to give me $25 million in February if they fire me just to leave. And so that equates to about $350K for the next 6 years. Do I really need to give a shit if this team wins? He's like, oh, it went south. These guys got egos. Like, who the hell cares? So these buyouts are ridiculous. In the end, it didn't work out. Jonathan Smith, God bless you. You ain't the guy. You picked Aiden Childs, and he ain't the guy either, and you paid him. That guy's not a Big Ten quarterback. I saw it with my own eyes. That's not a Big Ten quarterback, at all. So he can play in the MAC, and he can go somewhere else. The next coach should broom everybody. I don't care. It's going to be done. Now, it's not going to be Chip Kelly. It's not going to be James Franklin. I feel like you do a big search nationally. Does Bullock come in and be the defensive coordinator? I don't care. I told you this when he was open for the Lions. I'm going to go selfish. Culture, passion, been there before, wants another opportunity as a head coach, but I think would play perfectly in college. Back to Brinkstrup for Robert Saleh. Bring Bulla as the defensive coordinator, and let's bring the passion home, man. Let the guy get his $50 million buyout. I think that guy will recruit. He'll figure out a way to get an offensive guru here that can run this offense. So I want Saleh, because I know the family. I know his culture. I know what he brings to the table. And I know that guy will bring Michigan State probably to the brink of a championship. Maybe not get there, but he'll do some things. So I want Saleh. So Saleh, and then we'll just throw everybody else out. The Bullas of the world. Hell, if you're going to go cheap, if you're going to go interim, the defensive coordinator has built defenses. If you can just get a world-class offensive coordinator, that guy can do some things. At least he has some level of scheme, but he needs talent, and we need recruiters. We need money. So it's a whole mess. So I hope they go out there and they at least get their guy that can understand how important winning is, and we'll see who it is. Like I said, I'm just pining for guys that I would love to talk to on a weekly basis, at least go out there and see them try to coordinate what's going on. Now, the joke that I told these guys is, good Lord, the way the Spartans operate and how the universe treats me, freaking Spartans are going to be like, we found our guy. It's Matt Patricia. And they're going to parade his ass out there, and I'm going to have my jaw dropped and be like, he's going to be out there and be like, this pencil in his ear. He's going to be like, I'm going to mold the minds of these young men. And I'm going to be like, oh my God, they got Matt Patricia. And I'm going to have to listen to this. And this is going to be bad. And he's going to see my face and be like, I think I know you. Did I know you? Were you a podcaster? Were you an internet guy? So please just avoid Matt Patricia, and everybody else will be. It's just going to be tough, man. It's going to be tough because it's a long process. You got to tear that shit down. That thing's got to be burned to the ground and start all over. We're talking about, what is this, 2025? You're not going to be relevant at least until 2027 at a minimum. At a minimum. Man, Ghetto Boy One, you pissed me off.
Steve Wild says, what would you need to offer to get a guy like Tariq Woolen?
Yeah, I feel like the way in which we hype up trades is different. You don't need a second rounder, fourth rounder. I think fourth rounder would get the job done. Depending on what's going on. I think the Seattle's in a great spot, man. Jackson Smith and Jigba. I don't know what kind of value they're going to place on him. Probably a little bit higher, maybe a third, fourth rounder. To pull a guy that's young. But the problem is, like I said, he's not a fit. He plays a lot of man, and it's really good. And I think that there might be, based on the demand for corner across the league, there might be an opportunity where where some other teams are going to be in the mix as well. So that could drive the price up. You start at a fourth, maybe end up with a third.
Chief IT Hip says, Mailbag, which NFC team worries you the most? Eagles, Packers, or Rams?
Yes. Great question. All of them worry me. Packers, not as much. I feel like you can expose Jordan Love. Rams are playing well. Devontae Adams has been a nice fit. Eagles, they just make the right moves at the right time, and home field advantage will be a key. But they should worry about the Lions. Like, remember, the Lions are right there. Like, I'm talking about Gibbs can take the next level from where he is now. And we're talking about getting Montgomery more involved, Laporta. Guys, they should worry about the Lions at the highest level. Don't let the Lions get hot. Don't let them get hot. Don't let them get the number one seed again. It won't happen. Nobody's going to come back to Detroit in this year and beat the Lions in the playoffs. No chance. So what worries me is the Rams. Their offense can go, and Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams. That's a nice mix. That's a nice start. And Stafford knows what it takes at this level. It could be his swan song. So of those three, the Rams worry me the most.
And then the last question, Patty Graham's Mailbag. Doc, is it harder to get a franchise quarterback or a franchise-changing head coach?
Yeah, no, it's. I think it's harder to get a franchise quarterback. The position's tough. We are a selfish society that wants to play these guys too soon. Out of every Jackson Dart, there's a lot of Dylan Gabriels. There's a lot of Baker Mayfields. Lots of guys that you get thrown out there. Look how crazy it is for the Giants fans who are shining right now. Daniel Jones and Sam Darnold, and they're not with the Giants or the Jets. It takes time. So I have a new philosophy. I think I shared it here or on a broadcast when I was screaming and yelling. You pick a quarterback, you sit his ass for 4 years as an apprenticeship. Like, this is a PhD thing. Like, I can't be a psychologist after 4 years of college. I got to go to 2-3 more years and get an education, get a master's degree, and get a PhD. You don't get higher level of degrees after 1 year. We throw these guys out there and say, hey, go read these expansive defenses where the defensive coordinator has been studying how to stop you for 15 years. Come on, dude. Let's be realistic. The league has set up these quarterbacks to fail, and it's pretty stupid that the way in which these quarterbacks have been treated. So it's really tough. There's only so many of them. That's why these quarterbacks get cycled. I think with coaches, also very challenging, but very challenging to get these guys in game management. I think the formula is there now. Everyone knows it. You need a coach that's played in the league, that can motivate like Dan Campbell and has experience learning under the best. And Dan Campbell's path is the path, the way to go. And then you surround your players with a bunch of former players. And then to Streams, thank you, man. If I don't know football, it's the biggest hustle. So it's amazing because you sit and you comment about me. It just makes me happier. And I got a job for 15 years doing it. So it's actually, when you say that, it actually makes me happy. It's the biggest hustle in the world. If I don't know football, I'm definitely getting paid. So piss off, homie. Nobody cares. Nobody cares about you, bro. Nobody cares about you. But your comments are funny in a way that I literally think about it and I say, man, you don't like what I say. You think my comments are trash. Yet you sit and watch me. In the end, Streams, in the end, in all seriousness, the way in which you conduct yourself is actually how I get paid. people say they don't like me, but the clicks are there because I say something that people think about. So
you're commenting right now.
Hey,
thank you,
Doc.
Thank you. Actually, thank you, Streams, because in the end, the way in which I would explain it is there's a lot of people that say that, but they're definitely clicking and reading a lot of the shit I'm putting out there. So it's an amazing opportunity. And someone asked where do I rank? Just put me at the bottom. Where do I rank in terms of the media? Put me at the bottom. I'm the worst. I'm the least relevant, the least important. But blessing, the one thing that I did was I started my own company, so I can do whatever the hell I want. So I can tell Streams to kiss my ass. It doesn't matter if you like me or don't like me. I'm the boss. I own Detroit Sports Podcast, and I run it. And I'm actually probably better way to put it is I'm a good podcaster, good reporter, decent writer, great businessman, great marketer too. So kiss my ass, Streams.
Hey, Doc, before you get out of here, I didn't get your score prediction. What's your score prediction for Sunday? Lions, Vikings.
Score prediction. It's going to be, first of all, Halloween's Friday. I have a mask here, but I was like, it doesn't fit. It's not sports related. I was going to put some eye black on, but I'm like, you know what? Let's be professional.
Wait, whoa, eye black, Doc?
Yeah, I was going to put the I was like, you know what? I'm going to come out there and be Aidan Hutchinson on this show today. But I said, you know what? I actually thought about it. I'm like, you know what? No, let's be professional. Let's go out there and say what they, I was like, you know what? I'm going to clean up, look more professional. Like I said, I mean, I can't, when I see the numbers and I see the video plays, I was like, okay, it's actually reasonable enough where I shouldn't be bearded up. Like it's professional and it's going all over the world. Like, damn, Sports Illustrated has been super kind to me. Me being a non-ball knower, they've distributed my videos all over the world. It shows up on the SI site. I see the number. I'm like, man, I should look more professional. I should wear a suit, but I look at it like I want to be a little more casual with the collared shirt, but I want to treat it seriously. I am
Doc, I was just say this, please, as a friend, I don't know if we can consider each other like colleagues or anything.
Yeah.
Please do not wear a suit.
Okay. Yeah. See, I know.
I can't let you, as a friend, I'll be like,
listen,
I can't let my friend go into battle like that.
Listen, Stephen A. Smith said it. You dress how you want to be. And so I'm at a good level now. I'm very well taken care of, but I also could see myself not on television per se, but you want people to respect you. It's tough for me because I'm in a different boat where my only real goal is maybe a little more respect in the media, but I don't really care because I'm really, like I said, I built the island that I like, and I like the island. And yeah, of course, you guys are my colleagues. You're my friends. I respect what you guys do. You got me into a little different thing. Like my expertise is audio. And the crazy part is that I pushed myself to do more videos, and I'm still shocked. The Streams is probably right. Why the hell did SI not only buy and work with Detroit Sports Podcast? Why did they distribute my face all over the world where I'm going on Awful Announcing? There's my face. I'm going on MSN. There's my face. Going on Yahoo. There's my face. I'm like, Jesus, but they keep renewing year after year after year. And those that know that I'm passionate. I do care. And I am somebody that works pretty hard and puts out a lot of videos. I did like 700 videos last year and 1,000 articles. So I am in a unique spot in that I've told everybody I met all my goals. I really have. Now I'm just having the most fun out of anybody. I would not say I'm the worst of the media, but I would say I'm a podcaster that talks a lot of smack, that says what I think. I don't really care about what people say or think. I just kind of am winging it and having a good time with the opportunity that I've been given. And it's a blessing to do all these shows, talk a lot of sports, give an opinion. Some people like it, some people don't. And it's been great because to debate the haters is really fun. I do like it. So in general, like guys like Streams, I like because I've thought about this before. I actually like guys like Streams more than the fans because you can debate them a little bit. You can say, well, you've been listening for an hour and a half. Why? But it's fun. It's a fun gig. And I'm blessed. Like I look at it every single day that I get paid to do this and I can turn on a stream and talk about sports. And some people like it. I've never thought I'd get to 4,000 YouTube subscribers, and it's only growing a little by little. So I'm having fun with it. And I do truly believe in some way, I don't know. Like I said, maybe I'm in a delusion, la la land. I feel like Dan Campbell's acting like a Super Bowl coach. I feel like the Lions are portraying themselves like a Super Bowl team. So maybe I'm getting warped into the belief, but I feel like that I'm due after, starting a podcast from the ground up, forcing my way into the media, demanding that podcasts are media. I feel like the next step is for me to cover a world championship team. I deserve to be in the locker room to just kind of see what the hell that's like. And I feel like this could be the year or next year. And the way in which Brad Holmes has constructed it, maybe this is going to be where I'm now going to, for the next decade of my life until my 50s, I'm going to cover like a Steelers team where they're just in the playoffs every year. We're debating additions and subtractions. This is like, again, I'm really, really happy. And I'm happy now to be in the mix where my energy at 46 and my brain and wisdom allows me to put myself in the mix in the media. So I'm having a good time with it. I kind of feel like this could be the year, guys. And I don't know if it's a seed. I don't know if I've, drank too much over the last few years, but I don't know. I feel like this is the year the Detroit Lions get that Lombardi trophy and everybody celebrates.
Well, Doc, we appreciate the hell out of you. You crush as always. Good luck this weekend. And you got a busy next week with the game. You got the trade deadline. And next week, we should have plenty to talk to you about. So until next Wednesday, we'll take care of it. Frankie Crush.
Listen, Booner, I know you know who I am, but if I put on a suit, it'll be $1 million.
No,
on, bro.
Wow. Doug, listen. Hold on, Doug. Hold on. I will say this. Listen, I just think in our world, I think there are suit guys and there's not suit guys. I think all of us could pull a suit off if we wanted to, but I think when we're talking sports and doing cover, I think we all, it's like everyone has their own style of clothes. I don't see you out there covering the Lions in a suit, which I would love for you to, but I love the Doc the way the Doc is.
No,
I can't. I want to have the Doc as the Doc, man. That's what makes you so special and why you're so great at what you do.
And you know what? I respect you for saying it because not too many would say that to someone, and I actually believe you. That's why I don't wear a suit, and that's why.
What if I pulled up in a suit? You'd be like, Boone, you look good, but hey, you're probably not like that.
Yeah,
that might not be you, Boone.
I'm not a suit guy, and it's absolutely right. Your assessment's fair, but I could turn into one. Now, maybe this was God telling me maybe I need to be a suit guy so that I can piss off. Maybe
you can always switch it up.
A suit and rock it. No, I'm not going.
If Jeff pulled up in a suit on a show night, I would be like, dude, who died? Like, why are you wearing a suit right now?
See, and no matter what, you can always pull up Hassanin. Ahmed's dad loves me, and I love Ahmed's dad.
He's the best.
He's the best dude, and we can end on this. Doc, you're a great man, honest, true, with a lot of experience. God bless all of you.
He's the best.
And remember. If you like me or you don't like me, just give us a click. Give me a free click. It helps me.
Give the Doc
phones go.
or click.
Call Diane. Be like, hey, I'm the Doc from Sports Illustrated. Call me up.
Doc, the Adam Sandler of media.
Hey, Doc. He's gone. I was going to ask him what he was going to be for Halloween, but yeah, it's 10 o'clock already.
He mentioned eye paint. I don't know if that ties into maybe a costume he's got. I don't know.
I missed the iPad. I'm not gonna lie. Doc's probably still listening. I get so lost in the sauce with Doc sometimes when he's going on his rants, where I'm sitting there just like wrapping my head around what he's saying. Like I'm trying to keep up, and he moves faster than my brain works.
Yeah, he's one of a kind.
And Drew Edwards said a Doc is sneaky funny. I think a lot of people in the chat take the Doc extremely serious, which he knows his stuff, and you should when it comes to Lions and content. Like, yes, you should take him serious, but there's still a lot of the time where the Doc's messing around, he's trolling, he's having a good time.
He's a wrestling fan, man. He's a fan of entertainment. He's entertaining.
So the people who get mad and go at with him in the chat and are generally like getting frustrated with it, the Doc's a funny guy, man. Like, he's actually a funny dude. He enjoys it, and when you take a step back and just enjoy life, man, he's a great person, man. He's one of the greatest, I think, in the city.
And
that's a good job.
It was a good show today. Appreciate you, Boone, holding it down. We had the Doc as well. Appreciate him. Tomorrow we'll have Tyler Forness, who covers the Minnesota Vikings, and then we'll have Sam Flannel tomorrow. So it'll be a good show tomorrow, 8 p.m. Get your merchandise, officialctsports.com. But until then, we will appreciate you all. We'll catch you. Peace.
Love you guys.